Well, well, well. It looks like we're going to have ourselves a little bit of fun today. So yeah, what you just saw on screen, that was a comment I received a couple of days ago. Somebody just like, hey, random challenge time. I want you to try this and such and so. Well, first and foremost, I actually misremembered what that comment said, because it said, do it in a whole tower run. My dumbass assumed that meant, that means, like, each round is a tower, right? No. So, what I was initially thinking was, oh, okay, then I'll use no Soul Weavers for the first round, and then I'll use 3-star hero base units for the second round. Well, it turns out when you do that, you actually didn't proceed with any of the challenge, because both of them kind of cancel each other out. But either way, let's go ahead and we'll just break down what I was doing real quick. So, Spirit Eye Celine, Mediator Kawerik, and Hwayoung herself. Going into Navy Captain Landy, who is now absolutely fucking dead. By the by, 18k HP on that. Yo, what in the ever-loving fuck is up with, like, the HP scaling that you need to have to do, like, maximum level damage going into, say, any of these units? Like, that was only, like, a 1k HP difference, and I did that much more damage on that particular case. Also, no damage mitigation of any kind. Bro, I don't know. Hwayoung's damage values are so fucked up they make no sense. But either way, the other units going into it are Conqueror, Lilias, and Apocalypse Ravi. So, I was normally going to do this team with a Magic Scholar Doris instead of a Spirit Eye Celine, but I was going for the whole, like, hey, no Soul Weaver, let's do no Soul Weaver, ooh. Doesn't really matter, but I mean, this works extremely well in general anyway, because Conqueror Lilias is only going to go into Mediator Kawerik. If you can manage to spare the time to delay your turn and not get utterly fucked by the Navy Captain Landy doing, like, attacks and salvo and shenanigans, the good news is she is at most going to hit you, like, maybe once. And you're still going to be safe, because your Spirit Eye Celine isn't going to die from, like, one random hit. It would have to take 2 random hits or so for you to be killed. And, well, either way, we've already finished up that match. Everything worked out. I'll probably go back and talk to it more later. But, like, here in this one in particular, I was like, oh, hey, now let's actually use, 3-star characters that's their base. Their base is a 3-star unit. Like, Angelic Montmorancy is Momo, Shadow Knight Pyllis is Pyllis, and Aither doesn't have a spec change. He is just good old base 3-star Aither, the Grand King Poobah himself. So, the big thing that I immediately see and why I was able to do this is, one, Rocket Punch is an absolutely fucking ridiculous artifact. It just is. It just fucking is. It's the thing that makes this possible, because the additional damage that you deal based on the defense value of your character, the additional damage is just fucking crazy. And even more, additional damage absolutely destroys Spirit Eye Celine, because it kind of bypasses her damage limiting nature, which is the whole fucking point of her kit. So, basically, that's our strategy, is go into Spirit Eye Celine until she's fucking dead. And, of course, Unbound Knight Arowell's there, who's pretty much just there to slow you down in every way she possibly can. Also, this Unbound Knight Arowell is actually rocking a fair amount of effectiveness, because she's able to hit my Shadow Knight Pyllis. Because if you do all the math, with Shadow Knight Pyllis and all of her ER, it's 150, and then it's plus 60, so that's 210, and Shazam. That means you have to have, like, at least close to 100 effectiveness or so on the Unbound Knight Arowell. Whatever. But either way, we're almost done with the first phase of this fight. Like, this is probably going to be the hardest thing in general, is just talking about this fight. Like, as soon as the Spirit Eye Celine goes down, which I don't think she even really activates any Dust Devils, so I'm completely safe in general anyway. And so as soon as she goes down, the fight is actually over. And this is also a pretty prime example of, like, why ambitious Tywin on defense is just genuinely not scary. Like, he's scary if you were to go into him with, like a cleave buff kind of setup, and then he retaliates by hitting you with an S3, which then could possibly stun your whole team, and then also death break you. But if you just go into him, like, slow and steady, and you have, like, fairly decent bulk in general going into him anyway, he's literally no threat. You know what he is? Annoying as fuck, because every single S1 that he does against you, you lose, I believe it's like 4 souls every single time he hits you with that. Which then also means, in my particular case, I'm not going to have access to S3 Shadow Knight Pyllis spamming. Kind of sucks, because all this does is it just slows the whole fight down. Now, eventually, some point through all this, I'm going to hit auto as soon as I feel comfortable and I just start going into the Unbound Knight Arowell. So let's go ahead and actually talk about that last team just a little bit more. So yeah, we had Spirit Eye Celine, who is basically your tailor-made, super, super awesome light unit that just tanks Apocalypse Ravi hits like a motherfucker. It's super, super swell. The only thing that really could have possibly gone wrong in the first fight was really if the Navy Captain Landy reacted too much to, say, any kind of hits going into me. But if you were to really look at it again, I really didn't have much to really worry about. Spirit Eye Celine is a form of security that you can have because she can't be one-tapped. At least not by those particular setups that we had there. And her turn was coming up quickly. You can then immediately use the S3. Hey, Shazam, now everybody has immortality. Hoorah! We don't need a healer. We'll just make sure we kill them before we lose our HP first. And that's generally the kind of strategy that you utilize anytime you are force locking yourself out of using a healer in any particular way. Oh, hey, look, I finally hit auto. Goddamn. I'm not even kidding whenever I was saying, this was going to be harder to talk about because of round 2 right here. Just how long this fucking takes. I could have probably picked another 3-star unit instead of just Aither. I just couldn't think of anything at the moment, because the big thing with this whole challenge thing that I was doing is all of my 3-star units that I really use, I don't really use any of my 3-star units for the sake of DPS. I use them in utility roles. So Chaos Inquisitor, I use him for really, really ghetto-ass strays baiting. I don't even use Axe God. Glenn isn't even built anymore because there's far, far better ways to extinct than to use Glenn. Wow, I'm actually pretty struggling right now because I can't think of a lot of the DPS or damage dealers that are spec change units. All of my spec change units that I really use are all support based kind of units. There is one in particular that I would like to use, but even I can't find a good spot to really use her, and that's the SC for Jenna. She really just kind of functions more on a cleave kind of setup, to have a bunch of 2 other really strong units to go with her, and then she can inflict frostbite and death break and stuff like that. But it just kind of feels like it's a waste of a slot, because if that's all she does, why the fuck wouldn't I just use Lethe? You know, just because she also does frostbite and she does big huge damage whenever you have 3 stacks of omen. It's stuff like that. But hey, we're almost there, boys and girls. We're almost there. We're almost done with this incredibly boring as fuck, this incredibly boring fucking fight, which it was decided as soon as the Spirit Eye Celine went down. When the Spirit Eye Celine goes down, then you just kill the Unbound Knight Arowell, because all she's doing is slowing you down, and when you have nothing but ambitious Tywin left, sure, he may hit you here and there with his S3. He may also provoke you because he ignores effect resist whenever he has Enrage. But even though this one's rocking mature sunglasses, he just doesn't do enough damage to really genuinely be a threat. And his cleansing passive that he has isn't really helpful in this particular situation that he's here for in defense. Oh yeah, we won! Woo! Holy fuck, get me out of here! Okay, so now on to something that's actually kind of interesting. Destina, Unbound Knight Arowell, and Navy Captain Landy yet again. We bring out the good old OG auxiliary lots. What he does is, anytime he uses his S2, he can then put whoever he chooses to the top of the CR bar, also gives them an attack buff, and we just so happen to outspeed everything on that side, use Arunka, will boost Arunka up. They all have barrier because Unbound Knight Arowell's there, and the Navy Captain Landy was also a light unit, which then means she had a barrier, which also means you are dead turn fucking 2. Hooray! Isn't that fucking cool? Now, after we've already killed the Unbound Knight Arowell, we still have access to S3. Well, no, not the Unbound Knight Arowell. The Navy Captain Landy. Now we kill the Unbound Knight Arowell, because anytime you kill with Arunka's S3, you just straight up get full cooldown reduction on the whole skill. Now, we can't really one-tap the Destina now because she doesn't have a barrier. However, what Arunka does do is she extincts. Something that I almost never fucking did whenever we were using her before. Because her damage values were so low, we straight up couldn't fucking kill anything with her S3. Like, even whenever we were using it as intended, going into barriers and such, it would never be enough damage to actually, like, result in the extinction. So we would just use Uber's Tooth to do extra damage to kill. And Landy, I just brought Landy because we're fighting Navy Captain Landy, and I just wanted to be a cheeky little motherfucker. Aren't I a stinker? And also, that was no Soul Weavers on the first round. However, we're going to be using a Soul Weaver here. Ooh, woo. So, Hwayoung, Mediator Kawerik, and Magic Scholar Doris. Now, you want to know the funny part is we straight up don't even need Magic Scholar Doris. This is the reason why. Shazam. That bitch is fucking dead. By the by, that Apocalypse Ravi was at 25k HP, so I was like 100 damage off from one-tapping her, and then she healed to 2,000, but then Uber's Tooth procs at the end, and then does the additional damage to kill her. Ain't that just fucking sweet, huh? And with that, we also are fighting Angel of Light Angelica. Very rarely that I actually see her on defense. However, the big thing with Angel of Light Angelica is she's a huge fucking pain in the ass. She is mainly there to annoy the ever-loving fuck shit out of you with the fact that she can strip and then also do unbuffable and then also silence you. The general strategy is to use Mediator Kawerik to go into her, and as soon as she goes, then you activate Mediator Kawerik's S3 because he can't be silenced in that particular way. You have to either hit him with a 2-turn CC or you have to turn cooldown him. It's the only way you can actually fight Mediator Kawerik. So he, in a sense, can counter Angel of Light Angelica. However, in the arena, a lot of times, they like to make their Angel of Light Angelicas a lot slower than your Mediator Kawerik's. So then he goes first, and then she goes next. And then you just want to blow your fucking brains out because of the turn order. However, here, things work out as intended. The Angel of Light went first, and then, you know, Mediator Kawerik goes, and then you just cleanse, give yourself attack buff with Hwayoung, one tap accordingly, and just as the match goes on, Senya can't really do shit to you whenever you have sustain and you have Hwayoung. Hoorah! Match over. Now, here comes another match with no Soul Weaver. Aren't I just so fucking clever? So this is Ran, Mercedes, and Lilias. This does work. I've showcased this before in the past, but of course, anything can go wrong at any moment, and you can just straight up lose. For starters, the Mercedes does not activate magic for friends. If she did, the Rimuru would have been killed, and the Ed would have been really, really low on HP. Very, very possible that he could have also been killed. Also, we don't do enough damage initially off of Ed's S3 right there, where we did not kill the Mercedes here. So, if that were to happen, we would possibly take an actual hit from Mercedes, because then, you know, Rimuru would have been dead if the Magic for Friends would have activated, and then we wouldn't have had the opportunity to use the S3 here to then kill the Mercedes. So then you would also dealt with an actually strong Lilias S3, because the way in which her S3 works is she steals the attack stat of whoever has the highest attack for the S3 that she does. And, I mean, Lilias' recent buffs, she actually has a fairly decent amount of crit. She has 50 crit, and you could just put a whole lot of crit damage on her. And she also recently got an EE where she just straight up can do more fucking damage with it. So that's something that you have to really take into account. This team works, but it feels like it is mad fucking lucky. And then we'll just go ahead and round this out with the end with a Dark Corvus shenanigans team. So this is Savior Adin, Unbound Knight Arowell, yet again, and then also Rimuru on defense. So anytime I'm dealing with Rimuru on defense, I just don't ever want to fuck with that. I always bring Krau into that. Very rarely I bring, like, Krau and Destina and Dark Corvus, but it just so happens to work out in this particular situation. Because, one, we have 2 light units that are going into our dark unit, that being Dark Corvus, so that means Devil's Descent going to be going really, really, really soon. Also, we took a hell of a hit on Krau, so that means that our Siegfried right here on S3 is going to do a fairly decent amount of damage. Unfortunately, we didn't really have a good target to hit, like, the best target I really even had was Unbound Knight Arowell, because everybody had a barrier. Rimuru, we were more than likely going to miss. We're probably not going to kill the Savior Adin with it as well. So I just like, fuck it. We'll just go ahead and we'll do as much damage as humanly possible. We'll just go into Unbound Knight Arowell, and then we'll just do it again with the Dark Corvus Devil's Descent. We don't even need Soul Burn. Fuck that shit. Not important. And we do not kill because, yay! Numbers! Numbers are the fucking best. So here I was just like, fuck it. Let's just go ahead and use the Destina S3. We'll just do a big heal here. We have Guardian Ice Crystals, so even if we do take fairly decent damage on the Krau, we also have Holy Sack, so the Rimuru is absolutely no threat on this team right now. Just no threat at all. The biggest threat he actually is going to possibly be is if he were to use his S3 onto my Krau and I had a buff, and then he would give, like, say, Death Break to my Dark Corvus, and say, for example, maybe the Savior Adin would have, like, attack buff or some shit. Fortunately for us, that doesn't happen. And we also just take this opportunity to Devil's Descent the Rimuru. Now all we have left is Krau and Dark Corvus going into a lonely little Savior Adin. Now with the Savior Adin being by herself, and the fact that we also have fairly decent anchorage and sustain with Destina, we have Krau just as a backup horse unit. You know, Siegfried does a fairly decent amount of damage. And we're going to be taking lots and lots of damage as well onto our Dark Corvus. We'll have access to Devil's Descent very, very quickly. I'm pretty positive I probably kill her with Devil's Descent, but at the same time, if Krau keeps taking damage the way he's doing, we're probably going to also have the opportunity to Siegfried her. Fortunately for us, we happen to go ahead and get the Devil's Descent. We'll just throw that sumbitch out, and that Savior Adin is going bye-bye. Not a whole lot interesting, not a lot of very interesting things to talk about today. Probably the most interesting thing was using Aither on the first round. The only thing that kind of sucked about that is Aither is really not very good. I totally forgot what his fucking kit was. Did you? I actually thought all he did was heal. Turns out his S2 also has a cleanse on it. I didn't even fucking remember that. And his S3, I think, has a little, like, baby barrier on it. It's like... You know, it's like the most infuriating thing about Aither is he actually could possibly be pretty good if they were to buff him one more time. Because for whatever fucking reason, Aither has, like, attack scaling on his heals. For some fucking reason, he does. I don't know why, but he does. And thankfully, they recently buffed him to where he also heals according to the unit's HP that he's healing as well. So, like, hey, thankfully, that's at least something. So Aither can kind of do at least some somewhat decent heals. His S2 is on a 2-turn cooldown, so it's like, hey, that's actually kind of respectable. So, like, every other turn, he can heal. And his S3 is on, like, a 3-turn cooldown. So, like, the only thing, if he gave attack buff on, like, his S3 or something, holy shit. I think Aither would actually be kind of legit. But, like, I mean, hey. This is just cope for using 3-star units that nobody ever fucking uses. Like, yeah, when's the last time you ever saw Blue Aither in play? Hey, guys, where's Aither's spec change? Where's that spec change at? I'm ready for it. You know what? Maybe that's what's going to be happening. We're currently in the middle of, like, some, like, Ezra Foundation event right now, and there's currently a story like, hey, there's going to be a big party at the Ezran Manor or whatever, and we also happen to send a letter to Bellion for some fucking reason, even though that bitch should be dead. And we didn't send anything to Cecilia or whatever. It's like, dude, the fucking story fucking drives me fucking crazy. I hate this shit. Are we done yet? I want to go. But anyway, hey guys, if you like this video, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you liked it, go ahead and leave a like. If you want to see more of my content, go ahead and hit subscribe. Later.